One of the most important parts of learning a musical instrument is to establish a strong practice habit. But how exactly do you do that? How do you help your child who's learning this instrument, who might be even resisting this instrument, get to their musical instrument and practice so that it's not this big struggle? So I actually have 7 steps that I recommend every parent take when they are trying to help their child establish a strong practice habit. Step 1, know your why. It's so important to know why exactly do you want your child to practice, to make music. I mean, do you want your child to be able to play at Carnegie Hall, or is it something where you want your child to really enjoy making music for self-expression? Is it something that you want your child to be able to do for the rest of their lives? Knowing your why can really help clarify how much music practice you want your child to accomplish and in what ways. Step 2, get your child to their instrument every day. There's no way around this. And honestly, this is one of the best things you can do for your child, because when your child goes to their instrument every day and begins to practice, they develop this habit. They realize, oh, this is something I have to do every day. It no longer becomes an optional task. It's just something they do, kind of like brushing their teeth. And so if you make sure that your child gets to do the instrument, and even if in the beginning it is only for 5 minutes, it helps establish that daily routine. And eventually this will help your child actually see that when they're practicing, they improve. And that will help motivate your child to then get to their instrument even more. Step 3, begin and end each practice session with playing. So I like to think about music practice and music playing on a continuum. So on the one end is practice. That's the stuff where you have to be, really diligent and break things down and do a lot of repetitions. On the other end is playing, which is this carefree, joyful, oh, I just want to play. And, this is the part where it's important for your child to begin the practice session with something that they really enjoy, and then to end that same practice session with something that they also enjoy. And this is also the time when you don't make any critical remarks. Just let your child play. And this will help your child ease into their practice session and then also leave them on a high note at the end of the practice session. Step 4, make quality repetitions. So now we're transitioning into the practice part of the practice session. And the most important part during the practice session is to make sure that your child is making quality repetitions. So that means they might have to break things down into small chunks or slow things down. And this is probably the hardest part about practice, and it requires a lot of attention and focus. And if your child doesn't have that, it's really important that you help them and you guide them and you support them. So making sure that your child repeats in a way that allows them to then play it in a correct way, that will actually give them a lot of motivation, because they can see, oh wow, with repetition, I get better. And then they will want to get to their instrument even more. Step 5, focus on the positive. A lot of times we want our children to, make sure that they're playing everything correctly. And I know I've been guilty of this, of being critical, too critical actually, or even getting upset. And so even though we want our children to play well, it does nobody any good if you're angry or if you're yelling at your child. As much as you can, use positive language, like pointing out what they're doing well. And for the parts where they need to fix, then just point out, oh, it sounds like we need to focus on X, Y, and Z. It sounds like the tempo is really unsteady. And that was what your teacher told you is the main point for this piece. And so make sure you are focusing on the tempo. So directing them back in a positive way that's also gentle can be very, very effective. Step 6, saturate the environment with music. So the more your child is listening to music, seeing people make music, the more they will be excited about making music. If you want some ideas on how to saturate the environment with music, I actually have a free download, the top 15 ways to inspire kids to make music. It's on my website, or I'll link it in the comments below. But if you saturate your child's environment with music, they will then want to make music because they're seeing music all around them. Step 7, supervise practice. As much as I wish we didn't have to supervise practice, that's just the reality of it. The reason why we need to be there and support children with their practice and even be in the practice session when they're young is because kids do not develop executive functioning skills until they're well into their 20s. And so what are executive functioning skills? Well, they include task initiation, organization, perseverance, focus. So all of these are in the frontal lobe, and kids don't have that yet. And so the best thing we can do to support their music practice is to be there with them. We have to be their frontal lobes in that sense. And so I've worked with hundreds of parents, and there's really no way to get around it. And the ones who have kids who thrive with music are the ones who are present with music practice. So with young kids, it means really just sitting near them or next to them and helping them figure out what to practice. And of course, as they age, when they get into the teenage years, you can be a lot more laid back. The teenagers will then practice on their own, but it's still important to check in. You're still supervising, you're still making sure everything is running smoothly. And if you feel like you're having a hard time figuring all this out, because it is a really complicated process, then I suggest that you look into my online course, How to Raise a Musical Child. Parents who have taken this course have found a huge sense of relief when it comes to music practice. Here's some feedback from parents who have taken my course. One parent said, "It was very interactive and far exceeded my expectations. In addition to helping my child with his musical skills, I gained parenting skills as well. It's a great class." Another parent said, "You changed my life. Since using your techniques, our family is calmer and happier." If you're doing any of these steps to help your child establish a strong practice habit, I'd love to hear about it. If you have questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. I always read the comments and I value your feedback. And please also share this video with anybody who could really benefit from it. I'm trying to reach as many parents as I can because I feel like this is such valuable information. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.